Next up on the town hall, there aren't many businesses that have been hit harder by the pandemic than restaurants that still continue to struggle. And a new survey out from the group that represents them here in New York State shows how the Delta variant has caused new challenges for this industry.
The State Restaurant Association just released a survey of restaurant owners, and among the key findings, 85% said that they've seen demand for indoor dining drop in recent weeks. That's especially bad right now because outdoor dining is now becoming more difficult as the weather gets colder.
78% say they don't have enough workers to deal with customer demand. And thanks to the supply chain shortage, 92% said that they're paying more these days for food than before the outbreak. It is a lot to go through, and here to talk more about it with us tonight is Melissa Fleischut, President and CEO of the State Restaurant Association. We're glad to have you back here on the town hall. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Kate and Michael. Good to see you again.
Melissa, the pandemic is obviously still going on, but for a lot of people, life seems to be getting close to back where it was before the pandemic. So it might be surprising to many to hear that so many restaurants are now seeing this, drop in business. Why do you think customers are hesitant to come in at this moment?
Well, this survey actually covered the last couple of weeks and couple of months. So we were trying to get a sense of what happened in the industry because surprisingly, like you said, there was this downturn that started probably around July and continued through August and September. The National Restaurant Association, our partners, think that this had a lot to do with the Delta variant and the rising COVID numbers that we saw over the summer. So we're hoping that now that the numbers are coming down, that this isn't a trend that will continue into the fall and winter and that we'll actually start to see it change. But it's an important story to tell because I don't think people understood this was happening.
Yeah, because it does seem like Michael mentioned that things were getting back to normal. So what is the outlook now? Because of course we know it's already getting chilly, outdoor dining becoming less and less of an option for people around here. The restaurants you heard from don't seem to be pretty optimistic about the future. Is there anything you think might change that?
Yeah, unfortunately, based on the study, 67% said that they thought it was going to take probably more than a year, if ever, to return to what they consider normal or, where they were prior to the pandemic. So that's definitely concerning. But I think you touched on a lot of the points that they need to resolve in order to get their supply chain has been really surprising to us and seems to be very little that any of us can do about it. But it's having a big impact, having difficulty finding certain items. The one we're hearing now is equipment parts. Plastic bottles and glass bottles impacting soda and liquor and wine has been, something that needs to be addressed for them to get them back to where they need to be. So they have all those products that you want. And then high cost of proteins, seafood and meats and shellfish, those things have really surprised us as well. And it's going to take a while for us to get back to what we expect a normal supply chain to look like.
Yeah, and then Melissa, on top of that, the industry, like so many others, is dealing with a worker shortage right now as well, right? What changes are restaurants making? I think about a lot of businesses, depending on the industry, they're putting out big offers to people, giving them bonuses and all these incentives. A lot of restaurants operate on a much smaller margin and maybe can't compete with that. So how are restaurants trying to entice people to come in and fill all of those jobs?
Yeah, so you're right. They do operate on a pretty small profit margin. And right now, with increased costs, including labor costs, we've seen them have to raise prices. Have to raise prices for their customers, but have to raise labor costs for their employees. So the employees who have stuck with them and have been there and are working hard, they want to make sure that they're taken care of. So they're getting higher pay, they're getting new and interesting benefits. We have a new teledoc program that we've been offering that our members have really been embracing as something that they can offer their employees. They're closing down days of the week to give them a break. They're shutting down for lunch, which you usually don't see restaurants do, at least certain restaurants. Trying to keep them on the most important times, the most busiest times, and giving them a break the rest of the time so they don't burn out the staff that has really been loyal to them and has stood by them through all this.
There's certainly been so many changes that restaurants have had to make, and we certainly know, you touched on this, that food is getting more expensive and sometimes they can't find the things that they're looking for. So what steps are restaurants taking specifically to deal with those shortages? Some of them could last into the next year. I mean, it's a long haul here. Are there any restaurants that are able to even thrive under these circumstances given their business models?
Yeah, well, I think we said they've had to raise prices, and I hope that consumers and the guests all understand that. You've seen prices going up on food that you're purchasing at the grocery store. That's true at the restaurant too. Restaurants are just having to pass along some of that price increase to their customers. And, it's so uncertain right now. I think that's what's scaring them the most is, we don't know when this is going to start to get back to a regular supply. Are we going to see prices continue to rise for goods, or are they going to start to flatten out? And that uncertainty has us really scared right now. But, they're still very optimistic and they have great support from the community. So, we thank them for that and just hope that they can continue to support the restaurant industry throughout the fall and winter.
Yeah, we know that the vast majority of our viewers love to go out to restaurants here in Western New York, and so many people watching are part of that industry as well, so we will continue to follow it. Melissa Fleischut is president and CEO of the State Restaurant Association. Great to talk with you.
Thank you.